Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. I'm going to do the May 8th Spiritual Principle a Day in a meditation. Hope you're doing well this morning. I'm feeling very encouraged. Very encouraged behind yesterday's tornadoes here. The title of the meditation, Tolerance in Toxic Relationships. Another member found that amends meant not tolerating abuse anymore, and felt she finally had permission to step away from a destructive household. Living Clean, Chapter 5, Family. Preparing to make meaningful amends includes plenty of heavy lifting in steps 1 through 8. These steps give us a new perspective on our place in the world, a better understanding of ourselves, and a conscious contact with a higher power. We gain courage and self-respect along the way. These will be vital assets for us as we make our amends. A sponsor's guidance and the experience of other members shape our approach. With their input, we decide what our direct amends will look like in each situation and how we can avoid injuring them or others, including ourselves. The same network of friends and mentors reminds us to put our name on that list. Family dynamics and a lifetime of baggage can complicate some of our amends. Our support group reminds us that holding ourselves to account does not mean tolerating mistreatment. In some cases, we can protect ourselves from harm by setting limits. Healthy boundaries make for healthy, or at least healthier, relationships. In other relationships, the toxicity continues to be intolerable, and the amends process often reveals a need for greater distance. We can stop giving headspace to those who disregard our needs and forgive ourselves for tolerating what was never okay. As a part of our amends to ourselves, many of us reevaluate how we use our time and energy. Making our way through a list of amends brings clarity. Protecting ourselves by setting limits of what we will and won't tolerate is often part of the amends to make to ourselves. We take responsibility for our own beliefs, feelings, and actions. Not every relationship can or should be rebuilt, but the one with ourselves is definitely worth the effort. I can forgive myself for tolerating mistreatment in the past and make amends to myself by rethinking my approach to one of my most challenging relationships. What limits might I need to introduce or reinforce? Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now. Thank you, God. Grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please, and thank you. That is a powerful meditation talking about tolerance and toxic relationships. And, when we talk about spiritual principles being indispensable, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, right? That does not apply, right? That doesn't apply to toxic relationships. Right? We don't have to be tolerant, open-minded, and willing to stick and stay just because it sounds good. If it sounded good 5 years ago and today it doesn't sound good at all because the relationship is detrimental to our mind space, We don't have to stay in it. Now, if you're in danger, you know the person might hurt you for trying to leave the relationship, then you need to quietly take the counsel of your sponsor, right? Take the counsel of someone that is not interested in engaging that person on any level. They're not worried about their opinion, and take counsel with that individual and let them verify for you that what you're about to do is a good thing to do, right? It's not, if we're talking about abusive relationship, a toxic relationship, and I'm saying this for men as well as women, because having worked at a shelter, a safe place for people that were in abusive relationships or had been sexually assaulted, I can say, sometimes the getaway, right? The getting to a safe place doesn't always work out. Doesn't always work out. Sometimes they find out where you're at, but it's usually because of a lack of discretion, right? Not paying attention to our moving, going in and out, and they're watching us, right? It's not always easy to get to a safe place. And a lot of times it takes time to get to a safe place. And if you're being abused, there's no way you're going to be able to just pack everything up and take off without it being noticed, right? There has to be preparation. There has to be planning. And there's plenty of agencies that actually help if you're needing to get to a safe place. But sometimes it's not that deep. Sometimes you're just with a master manipulator that is always making it seem like you have the problem, a narcissistic type personality, and you're clean now. And you no longer want to be badgered, right? And so you need to make your escape, right? You need to make a way out. Sometimes a good conversation is helpful, and they understand that you can't tolerate them anymore. But a lot of times, a conversation with them, you've already had several, and all that is going to do to have another one is to encourage them to try and keep you trapped in that relationship. So there's a lot of serious things that come with being in recovery today. And part of that recovery, right, is making sure that we take better care of ourselves, making sure that if we're in a destructive household, that we don't have to tolerate abuse anymore, and that we really believe that. A lot of times we've tolerated abuse for so long that we wouldn't know if a person was abusing us or not. We wouldn't know. We would think that's just normal. Well, that's just our tiff. That's just normal. Sit somebody down and tell them a little bit about it and see if they tell you that's just normal. All day long, I'm telling people that is not okay. That is not okay, right? To be gaslighted and to have someone deal in that narcissistic mind mode of manipulating you and making you think that you're the problem all the time. That's not all right. And it will never sound all right to me. And I want you to really think about, should you be in this relationship? And if you choose to stay in it, why? Why are you choosing to stay in it? So today we need to be thinking about that. As we begin to deal with the wreckage of our past, sometimes what happens, I think, is that we tell ourselves that we have to stay. We were part of the problem. Well, by the time you've gotten on your 8th step and you've added yourself to the list and everyone else to the list, right? Hopefully there's some more clear thinking that is taking place about what you have to tolerate by that point, right? And some people come into the program and they don't have the liberty of waiting till they get to that step to determine if they need to leave a toxic, destructive household or relationship. their lives literally are in danger because they're learning how to take better care of themselves, and that abusive person they're with does not like that. I have seen men be on the end of being a victim in a destructive, toxic relationship. I've seen men literally take beatings from their crazy, uncontrollable, physically violent, mentally unstable, impulsive mates. And they think they're supposed to actually take it, right? They think they're supposed to deal with that because they're man. That there's nothing that could be further from the truth. The person you're with is not well, and they've been abusing you, and you've tolerated it thinking that's the manly thing to do. And I would say the same thing to you. Why do you think you need to tolerate that? You don't. Try to distance yourself, right? You deserve the best. You deserve the best. You deserve recovery. You made it this far. So you're going to stop now because you might have to have a few difficult conversations, or you might have to go find work so that you can provide more income so that you can sustain yourself. This is recovery, and it's not always easy. But I will tell you one thing, you're never alone. That much I do know. You are never alone. And you can do it. You may need the help of others, but it goes back to that just for today, right? Being willing to admit that you don't have all the answers, right? And so I truly, truly hope that you'll take this meditation seriously. I want for today to be a beautiful day for you on purpose. Have a beautiful day on purpose. Even with all that I just passed through with these tornadoes, I'm feeling relatively peaceful. You know, had I not been clean, I would not have been able to make the right decisions, the right choices for not just one or two people, but for several people, making sure that we were safe. Right? And so today I'm very grateful for my life, my recovery. Have a beautiful day on purpose. Talk to you tomorrow.